All right, good evening, and welcome to another episode of Seeing Light Through Darkness. I'm your host, Kylan, better known as Kai. You know me, you should be familiar with me by now. And with me again this evening is my co-host, Miss Tequila, aka Kiki.
Hi.
And y'all, and so we all love to get drunk off her knowledge, okay? That's her hashtag for Miss Tequila, getting drunk off that knowledge. But before we get into it, Kiki, I just want to remind our listeners, we're just reminding where they can follow this podcast, and most importantly, I just wanted to give a big thank you to our listeners, because again, we all know without them, the podcast show wouldn't be anything. That's just what it is. That's what we're here for. But you can follow this podcast, Seeing Light Through Darkness, on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. So just look for Seeing Light Through Darkness by My Mental Space. And you can also find us on Facebook at My Mental Space, as well as Instagram and Twitter at My Mental Space 21. That is the numbers 2 and 1. And last but not least, on YouTube at My Mental Space. And as always, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for the latest content. All right, so this evening we are discussing suicide amongst today's Americans. I think this is a topic that we don't really like to talk about because it's uncomfortable. In general, it's uncomfortable for a lot of us. It's just something that we don't like to look to having discussions on, but I feel like it's important for us to, normalize it, break the stigma, dealing with, you have a lot of us, including us, that, struggle just on a day-to-day basis, just trying to live and survive. It can be a struggle. Gas prices are high, food is high, kids need this, kids need that. It's always something. So it's all about how, we move along and, the things that we use to help us cope. And that can be hard. Okay.
Right.
And a lot of times, that can lead into, again, what our topic is, our topic of discussion is this evening is suicide. Even saying that word, I'm not going to lie, even saying that word right now in the moment, it kind of jumps my heart, flutters my heart, because I feel like, I don't know, I don't want to take that word lightly. I don't want to, it's intimidating. And I know a lot of people may feel the same way, as I do personally. But before we kind of go in, I did want to share, and this is from, let me see. So as far as suicide, let me just click on this real quick. Let me just share something. CDC. Because I wanna just point this out. I'm looking at the statistics from the CDC. So let's see. This is from actually. let's do this because I want to get on suicide. Let's go to 2021.
That's definitely recent.
So, according to for immediate release, this is as of September 30th of this year. Okay, September 30th, 2022.
Okay.
So, and this is on the National Center for Health Statistics. This is the CDC Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, if you're not familiar. Let me quote. Provisional data from CDC's National Center for Health Statistics indicate that both the number and the rate of suicides in the United States increased 4% from just 2020 to 2021. 4%. Okay. After 2 consecutive years of decline in 2019 and 20. So listen to that. It was a decline. Consecutive years of a decline in 2019 and 2020. So if you have from 2000, so it's an increase from 2020 to 2021, going higher in 2022. You know what events have happened. Okay, so let's keep that in mind. And it states, let's see, the findings are featured in a new report. Provisional quote, the report is provisional numbers and rates of suicide by month and demographic characteristics in the United States 2021. So let's get some actual numbers here. The new provisional data show the number of suicides increased from 45,979 in 2020 up to 47,646 in 2021. The number of suicides in 2021 was still lower than the all-time high of 48,344 in 2018. Okay, so it's trending back up that way. Basically, the rate of suicides per 100,000 increased from 13.5 in 2020 to 14.0 in 2021, which is still lower than the modern peak of 14.2 in 2018. Okay, so again, we were on the decline. Those are still high numbers. I feel like just one, that's high. That's too many.
Exactly.
And it actually, just sitting here, just thinking about it and talking about it, like I said, it's uncomfortable for me. And as far as, my personal thoughts, it's more like it hits close to home. And I say that because in 2020, I shared, earlier in previous shows how, the challenges, that I have. I don't like to say struggle with, because I don't like to look at. That's just something that I guess, just something that I overcome every day. I have days that are harder because, it for me, it depends on what's going on. But now I know what I need to do to kind of help me cope and just weather the storm. You know what I'm saying? Just get on my boxing gloves, duke it out without being so stressed. Yes, you might feel a little stressed, a little tense, naturally, but I think most importantly for me, it was recognizing, or better yet, listening to my body when it's like, hey, you need to pull back, you need to take a break and do whatever. And sometimes I try not to even let myself, because remember we were speaking about self-care a few shows back, with trying to make it a habit to catch it before it even comes to that, before you start feeling aches or pains, or you just want to bust out in tears. And to be honest, sometimes just bursting out in tears, that might be a good thing,
right?
Because you letting it all out, right?
Yes.
Exactly. So it's like for me with suicide in 2020, I was dealing with, pretty much because I held back for years and years and years and years and years, it all came down on me in 2020. The pandemic, it was too much. I had just lost my grandmother, one of my grandmothers, in 2019. And that was hard. That was like my best friend, and I had to learn how to cope with that. And it took a while, that was something that changed me. That was the turning point for me. And so when the COVID came out, and it was just like, oh my God, I was done. And it when COVID came, during that time, I was triggered because a few years back I had caught pneumonia and was on bed rest. And, during that time, my sister, diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, colon cancer. And it was just a lot being at the hospital, doing this, working full time, taking care of a family. I was just going, just because I could, right? Until I got shut down. And my immune system during that time was just like, what are you doing? All right, you don't want to slow down. All right, we about to bring it to you. And it brought it to me, and it brought pneumonia, almost double pneumonia. Okay. I was sick, could not walk. I mean, 1 minute I'm talking and walking, and next minute it was like I had to get rolled into the ER in a wheelchair. And so that feeling I felt, they put me on a breathing, how they have to give you breathing treatment, right? I couldn't, it was awful. I couldn't even talk. It was like 1 minute I was myself, the next minute I was totally couldn't take care of myself, like couldn't do anything. And I remember remembering how I felt and what I was going through then. It was like, here's COVID, here's this thing out here, and it's like, here we go.
Right. Almost feeling like you got to go through it again. And
I was scared because I caught the pneumonia in the community. My immune system was so weakened that being out, I caught it from someone. So it's like, oh my God, I'm scared to even, like, I don't want to feel like that. Like, I felt like I was going to die. I was scared. I was just scared. So all of that triggering, it was just like, boom. So, in the midst of that, I was so depressed, couldn't get out of bed, I had a doctor's appointment. It seemed like if it, primary therapist, psychologist, it was like every week, and I was just really going through it, and I really didn't see hope. I kept questioning God, like, why do I have to, like, literally my words were, why do I have to have this messed up brain? It was some times where I even asked God, why do I have to have this effed up brain? Like, I was going in. I was so mad. And, during that time, I started having, suicidal thoughts. like, it was more like what if, you know what I mean? Like, what if I just take all this medication that I have and just, you know what I mean? Just be done with it. Just be done with it. I am tired. I feel like the hand that I was dealt has been unfair. I'm looking around at everybody else like, you know, even if it's like, well, wait a minute, what makes me different? You know what I mean? I could not wrap that around my brain. Like, what makes me different? You know, what have I done so bad, God, that I have to go through this? You know what I mean?
Right. And we do a lot of that. We question too. We look at other people and question, you know, why their lives are better, not knowing what they've been through.
Exactly.
So you don't know what they've been through or what they're currently going through, because some people make it look good.
Yes.
Really, really effed up.
And that's what I was doing. That's what I was doing. You know? And I just couldn't accept it anymore. I didn't want to accept it anymore. And so what started to happen after, you know, a few days and nights just staring off into space, pondering on it. I mean, it was just like my life was different. Kids, all right. It was just a mess. I felt like I didn't have control. And I am the type that likes control. I like to make sure things I'm a Libra. Okay. So I like balance, you know,
right.
When one of those scales start to tip, you know, like I always say, that's when it's like, oh my, you know, you know what I mean? I don't know what to do. And it just seemed like not only, you know, was the scale tipped, it was going up and down, up and down. One side would hit the floor, the other one is up high. Then, I mean, it to where before, if it did that, I was able to bring it back up on a balance. You know what I mean? And it was just like, Kiki, I was tired. I had no control. Like, literally did not know how to think from point A to point B. Okay? I couldn't do anything. You know, so like I said, you know, after thinking like that for days and nights, I started to have dreams. And it was the same dream every night. Okay. And in the dream, it was like my family, it was my funeral. It was literally my funeral. I never saw myself, right? It was, you know, the casket. It was closed. I never could, in the dreams, I could never see myself in a casket. That picture did not develop, okay? It was just a plain casket. Anybody could have been in there. It could have been empty. I don't know. Never saw it, right? But it was a funeral setting. The casket was there. And my family, my children, you know, my husband, everybody, it was just there. And I mean, it was the saddest scene. And it was crazy because, again, I could see everyone clear in the dream, but I never saw myself, right? Never. And I remember my kids, it was horrifying. It was so horrifying because I can remember. And then I remember, like, in the dream, my mom shouted this big scream. And every time I hear that scream, it was like I would wake up out of my sleep. Like, it would startle me, right? And this same dream happened over and over again for about, it was a few days. I don't know if it lasted a week, but it was a few days. And it was the same over and over again. It started the same way. I saw the same thing. It ended the same way. And after, I don't want to say not long after that, I remember going into that again, asking God, why? And at that time, it was like something came over me in that moment. Something just came over me. Because when I tell you, I used to ball up my fist, beat everywhere, just beat on the floor, I would kick the wall. I did so much. That's how unhappy, depressed, stressed. Like, I just felt like life wasn't giving me anything. You know what I mean? And something came over me. And when I asked, it was like, you know how you're crying and you just stopped abruptly? That kind of like into a stare. Yes. And I felt like I started to feel, as I sat there, I started to feel, it was like, how can I explain it? Okay, say like, you know the saying, like a weight has been lifted off? Like how you kind of feel light? Mm-hmm. That's how it felt. It felt like I was light, like nobody was riding on my back or anything. And
those dreams, the wake up call,
right?
I think he was giving you.
Yes, it was. Because, and in that moment when I asked why, I heard, it was like I heard like a voice, like a whisper or something just come from behind. It was all over me. I kid you not. I remember this. And when I asked, as I'm asking, why me? And I stopped abruptly. The crying, it was like I was acting. That's how quick it was. It was on 1 minute, off 1 minute. And I heard, why not you? And that's what stopped me, because I think I was scared. Like, I'm like, am I, because, okay, at that moment, I was really thinking, okay, I'm totally nuts. I'm crazy. Like, I'm crazy. Like, what I'm feeling right now, I'm scared. You know, as why I went into that pause like that. It was like, yeah, I'm crazy. I am crazy. And I stood there and I remember staring at the wall for minutes. And it dawned on me. It was like I was playing. Everything was coming back, like flashback, like the dreams. And I was saying, and I said to myself, you know, now I understand. In that moment, you know, after months, year really, because when she passed in March of 2019, March of 2020, remember, you know, the pandemic, when they shut, that was in March. So it's really, that was the time where I really hit that breaking point, and I finally understood. And accepted why. I knew in that dream, the reason why I never saw myself was because, first of all, he not finished. He wasn't finished with me.
Come on now.
And then he allowed me to see how selfish it would be to do that to my family.
Yeah.
And, you know, let me kind of back up, because I use the term selfish because, and this is not to judge anyone who has, you know, passed or died by suicide.
Right.
But, you know, and I know that word is like, because someone who hears this, that may have experienced this with a family member, you know, and I just want to be clear, you know, that I'm using the word selfish, and because it doesn't sound good, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you know, I don't know what else to wrap it up to, because at that moment I was thinking about myself. I was thinking about myself. And on top of that, I'm like, you know what? You sitting up here, you're having these thoughts. But at the same time, you're not speaking up. You're not asking for help. You're covering it up. You want people, to read your mind, and you just want people to get it. And that's how I was acting. Like I would act out. My acting out was catching an attitude, or just not even want to deal or talk to anybody. But it's so crazy because as soon it was so crazy because I talked about me being like a mean girl and doing all this, but as soon as I see somebody doing somebody wrong, I didn't like it. I didn't like it. So that's when, during that time, I had to go within to figure out who I was and what I needed to do and how to move forward from that. But that, you're right, that was a wake up call.
So I'm so proud of you that you're able to sit here and tell your story, because many people are not.
Yeah.
So let's be about the transparency.
Yeah, because, and to be honest, I've always said, when I've talked about it a little, but I would say, when I have those thoughts, I wouldn't say suicide. This is the first time.
Okay.
This is the first.
And with you acting out, and I've read something, because I did some reading and some research and stuff too. But one of the things, it's like, if you see something, say something. And that was one of the things, like if you see a close friend or relative, or particularly anybody that you are in contact with all the time, if you notice that they're acting out of character, they're not themselves, try to figure out what's going on with them, because they can be going through something that they don't want to talk about, don't want to share. But you being willing to let them open up to you may stop them from committing suicide.
Yeah. And like what you said, if you see something, say something. Because I tell you, I know that I wouldn't want that on my watch. You can get mad or whatever. Like I'm definitely, an advocate for someone who, especially now, because now I know my purpose. I know why I went through that. Because he's gonna put his strongest ones. He's gonna line the strongest soldiers up. And everybody all my life kept saying, "You're so strong. You're a supermom. You're supermom." And see, that's why I didn't say anything. Because it's like, oh, I have to keep up this image. You know what I mean?
But I've always been told I'm the strong one. Like, even when my dad died, that's when like 4 years ago. Girl, you'll be all right. You're strong.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So they're saying.
Yeah. And it's not that it's not true. It's just, it's different. To me, strength is speaking up. Showing that you're strong is speaking up and saying, hey, I'm not feeling too well here. My brain, my mental, I'm not well right now. I need help. I need assistance. I need something. I need somebody or something. Like, you know what I mean? That is showing strength.
And it's showing strength. But in today's society, which is sad, so I'm glad we're talking about it, some people look at it as a weakness and not as a strength. But it is okay to ask for help. Yeah.
It's definitely okay. It's more than okay. It's the invitation. We have to start, holding each other by the hand. And I'm not saying like, enabling or anything. What I mean by holding each other's hand, meaning, we have each other. We are all God's children. I don't care. And all this hate and all this stuff, it's just ridiculous, and a lot of people are looking at it and like, this is the world. I'm scared if I walk outside of my house, somebody gonna be shooting. We heard the other night, somebody was just outside, just driving by, just shooting where they wanted to. It was the car. They were racing. And it was sounding like the pops. But moments later, the police, somebody, called. But we were like, because we had just saw on the news, I forgot where it was, but a young man was coming out. I guess he was coming out of his apartment or some kind of building. And a person, he had just walking down the street, just walking down, just picking random people to shoot, and shot and killed him. And so it's like, what is going on? What is going on with you in your head that's making you do that? And that's not fair. That is not fair. That person didn't do anything to you. It wasn't fair for me to get attitudes with people who did nothing to me but try to love and care for me or want to be my friend or whatever. That wasn't fair. I wasn't going to kill them or hurt them. No, I wasn't going to do that. Never had those thoughts. But it was not fair for me to project, things onto other people like that.
Something, right?
That's not fair. And we have to start standing up and speaking up, because it's enough. I have had it. I just encouraged other people, if you're needing help, I'm telling you, there is always a light.
It is.
Right? It's always a light at the end of the tunnel. And and we look at it even with rejections in life. Like I tell anybody, a lot of times, let me put it like this. God's rejection is your what?
You better preach, because I already know where you're going.
It's your protection.
Yep. Yeah, break down before you break through.
You do, because it's lessons to be learned. You're being built up. And I don't. I understand that everybody may not believe in God or have these types of conversations, which is respected. I'm not here to judge anybody.
I would say whoever your higher power is.
Yeah.
Right.
And whatever affirmations that you believe in. You know what I mean? That's just what we talked about this too. What we put out there in the universe, it's kind of like placing your order. You go into any fast food restaurant or any type of restaurant or whatever, placing that order, you getting that, right? It's the same thing, because it's energy. It's the type of energy. That's why we have to be careful with people that carry that negative energy day in and day out. And that's why it's also important, more importantly, that we associate and surround ourselves with people who will uplift us, who have the same, beliefs.
Right.
And, for the most part, I'm not saying you're not going to have disagreements. That's crazy. We're human. But, because we all have our bad days. Okay. But it's how you get through it. It's how, but you have to protect yourself. I always say, the first part of the morning when you wake up, you need to give that self to you. Nobody need to be texting you with all that mess. Nobody need to be calling with all that mess. And if you are doing that, stop, because that's not fair. Again, that's putting something on somebody, because when you have something going on and you go and talk to somebody, it's automatically energy is transferred. Like it's just automatic, Right. So we have to be careful. Not to say don't call if you need help. That's not what I'm saying. Take the first part of that morning to really get you right.
And you have 30 minutes or an hour earlier. Do that.
Right.
You would do that.
Right.
So it would make your day so much better.
Right. And then it's like, You know, when you do that, again, we talk about, you know, putting them strong soldiers up there, right? That can handle that battlefield. Okay, so you wake up, what you gotta do? Get ready for the day. That's not just getting dressed and brushing your teeth and doing whatever you have to do. You know, it's mentally. You got to get that armor, that brain protected, because when you go out into the world, you dealing with different people and different things, different situations. How are you gonna allow those are wounds. Those are wounds. Did you take the time to put on your armor?
Right, because everybody's dealing with something in this life. Every day when you go out, you got to deal with life, because you have to deal with somebody that's dealing with something. They're going to take it out on you.
Exactly. You know, so you have to protect yourself first. Give that time to yourself first. So the person or friend, family member, whoever's calling for help, do whatever, you know, you good, you got that space, you got the energy, and you like, okay, give them that time. And then your moments, the last, you know, few moments when you getting settled in at night, you got to give that back to you. And that's where we get caught up, you know, helping everybody else. You look up and you looking at your to-do list. You like, I haven't even touched this. I was supposed to get this done. Dog, I was supposed to get this done. And then it's the same thing. Now I understand life, y'all, you know, stuff happens and we have to reschedule or get set back a little bit. But for the most part, you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
You know, you helping everybody else check off their list, while yours is every single day, it looks the same. It looked the same way a week ago. It looked the same way 2 weeks ago. It looked the same way a month ago, and so on and so on. That's why you have to give yourself time. And think about it like this too. If you're no good, how you going to help somebody else?
That's right.
You're not giving no advice, and you're not working on yourself every day.
Yeah, and not only that, if people are coming to you all the time for help, and you go to them for help and they're not able to help you, you got to be careful with those people.
That's another thing.
You need to separate yourself, because they don't care for you or love you genuinely. Now, to me, that's selfish. Because if you always coming to me for your problems, but if I come to you and you can't help me, well, then that's a problem.
That's the real problem.
That's a real problem.
Yep. It's a problem. And then, you know, too, you know, that's part of exchanging of energy. You know, what you give me is what I give you. It's some people who, you know, you have your everyday people like you and I, you know, talk on a regular basis. We're those type of friends, but it might be, you know, so-called, not to say they're not friends, but you might talk to them every so often. Y'all still cool, but it's where life is swinging you. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's no beef. It's no problem. It's just, hey, that's how we do. Now, if things change, that's fine. If you're out of my life, that's fine. You know, I trust in God that He putting the right people in my life. People in your life for what?
A reason in the season, baby.
So, you know, that's cool.
Yeah, and if you go to them people and they say, "Oh, you'll be okay," ain't nothing wrong with you. You need to check those people too.
Right. You know, so we have to start helping each other out here. Suicide is real. We have babies killing themselves. You know, like I read, so I think it was the CDC. As of last year, the youngest was 6. Let me see if I can.
And I read it outnumbers homicide. Like 130 people kill themselves every day.
Okay. Oh my goodness. Let me see if, because I think it was 6. Let me see.
That is so sad.
Yeah, I think I saw it because, you know, I did, you know, my certification in mental health coaching. See, that's what I'm saying. I had to get up on it. When I heard the message, I'm like, you know what? And that's another thing. I was like, let me stop being selfish. Talking about why me. No, it's because I'm getting ready to come in contact with some people that's going to need me.
Right.
And that was the truth. I mean,
he needed to go through that. It can be strong for his gift, his purpose he got for you.
Okay, so right here, it was updated July 28th, 2022 from suicide. This is actually from suicidecleanup.com. Okay, and it was saying that one of the very youngest children on record to have committed suicide was Samantha Nicole Kuberski. She was born in 2002. Baby. Oh my, she was 6. She was 6.
But them children going through bullied at school, or molestation, whatever going on in the household don't nobody want to talk about. It's sad for the babies out here. And to me, and it's sad because the parents today, and no judgment to anybody, this is just what I've seen with my own eyes. Parents today are all caught up on their kids going to school to take care of the children. When they get home, y'all really do your own homework. Don't nobody sit down with their children no more like they need to, as opposed to like it was back in the day. And I say back in the day, I don't mean that far back, maybe only a couple of years ago. But I don't know. Parents are not attentive to their children. They don't want to know what's going on. As long as they got good grades and they feel like they drop them off at school and they make it home, they're good. Children may be trying to tell you something and you're not listening.
Right. And you're right. We have to be, it's called, I guess I call it like an open door policy. If you need to talk, I remind the kids every day, are you okay? How are you feeling mentally? How is school? You having any problems? You having any trouble? Now remember, you can always talk to me and Dad or anybody. I don't care. Just pick somebody, to talk to let it out. And we allow that because I tell them it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Be respectful. But if something on your mind, speak up. Speak up. We have to. We kind of put them off to the side because they're kids, not they're people too. They feel and think like us.
They have their own personality.
Right.
It's not go there and sit down somewhere because you're a child and I'm grown. No.
Right. Listen to them.
I tell my daughter every day since she's like almost preschool. Every day she can, how you doing? How was your day? And things you want to talk about. And still, like the other day, she was like, Mom, you ask me the same question every day. Yeah, and I'm still going to continue to ask you that every day because every day something can happen. Yeah. And I want you to know that I'm here if you need to talk.
Yep. Exactly. I mean, I'm with you. I would advise any parent, just be present in your kid's life because as you heard, 6, I mean, and see, we would think, well, what is a 6-year-old going through that they would, want to do that? But again, this little baby had feelings and everything. I don't know, and not saying anything, about her parents, of course. It's just, I'm just stating, she's 6. They have feelings, and I can't even imagine what the parents went through, because parenting doesn't come with a book. I mean, you can get books out there. You know what I mean? You can get books out there that kind of help you but look, if they had a book for every single personality and every single child, it's like we all need to come with our own birth book. Right. On, on the back where it says instructions and everything, oh my God. But it doesn't work like that. And that's hard.
It is.
That's hard. And I don't even, we can, like I said, I can only imagine what the parents were going through. That's their baby.
Right. It's sad.
It's just, it is sad. It's very sad. But that makes you, again, going back to what we're saying, hearing all these stories, seeing these things that are happening every day, we have to check in with each other. And, you know, our children are our future.
Right.
You know, we have to have a future.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to take care of these babies.
And the parents really need to get help, because a lot of us as adults have gone through things that we don't talk about, because, and we've said this on a previous podcast, it's a lot of things that swept under the rug, and we take those things and we don't talk about it, but then it goes into us raising our children. So it's like, now you're feeling some type of way, or you're messed up about certain things, but then you're bringing it onto your children. So it's like it's a pattern and a cycle.
Mm-hmm.
So at what point are we going to realize, okay, we need help? Mm-hmm. It takes a village to raise children. It takes a village to raise adults.
It does.
Not raise adults, but as an adult.
It does. And that's what I did. What you just said right there, taking it out on your kids, because the oldest two went through, I mean, they had to go through my anxiety, because if things weren't clean enough, I was doing the white glove. If things weren't clean as how I would just sweep that junk in the middle of the floor and be like, clean it. I mean, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. And you are right. You, again, projecting onto other people and then your children? Like, what in the world? Mm-hmm. What in the world? Yeah. And you know,
it's okay to seek counseling. That's another thing that our community don't do. Sorry to cut you off. It's okay to seek counseling.
Yeah. Don't
people tell you crazy or whatever. First of all, those people, whoever you're hanging around telling you that, you need to stop hanging around now. That's just pretty much my thing.
You know, and another thing, you know, I know a lot of people talk about, well, no, I pray, God. Yes, I'm all for it. Right. But I also believe, and this is me, I believe that, you know how we go back to, we all have different gifts that God gives us. We're born with different gifts, talents, and helping people, and, you know, and resources. So we pray and God this help, and then do we not ever think that God put these resources in place for us to utilize? This is why the therapist can therapist. Mm-hmm. This is why the psychiatrist can psychiatrist.
Right.
This is why the doctor can doctor. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is why this coach can coach. I mean, I'm just saying. That's what, you know, I believe. He provides the resources.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, that's just me.
Mm-hmm. That's those. I don't even know what was coming out. You're saying the doctors and therapists and things like that. Those are the gifts that he instilled in them to help people. Mm-hmm. But if you're not willing to seek the help, then I don't know.
Yeah.
But you have to be willing to. And I know, and it's easier said than done. That I do know. But you have to be willing to not be selfish. Even though I know we said that, don't take it out of context. Yeah. But you have other people that love you. And not only other people that love you, when you realize your self-worth and know, okay, it has to be more for me, then your situation, I believe, can truly change and you will seek help. But I've never been in that situation, like personally. Now I've had some thoughts. It's like, oh my God, I'm so sick of this. Just like, elf it, put my phone on do not disturb. I don't want to talk to nobody. And I know that's like a form of depression. But as far as suicidal, I can't say that I really have per se. But so I can't say as far as seek help. But I don't know, as a friend, and that's to anybody, that just make sure you get yourself some help. That's the bottom line.
Yeah. That's you know, if anyone listening to this, you know, you've heard me talk a little bit about, you know, my story. And I know I'm not the only one, obviously. But if you are having those thoughts and you feel like there's no way out, reach out, ask for help. Actually, I did want to share this too. They have the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. Okay. So you can, let's see, the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline telephone number. Okay. And listen carefully. It is 1-800-273-TALK. So that's 1-800-273-8255. And you can also visit the website at suicidepreventionlifeline.org. You can also text. I think they have, let me see. They have a lifeline. I think you can text a number too. If I find it, I will. I thought I saw that, but it's help. Even if sorry, that was my Fox Sports. But sorry about that. But anyway, I think you can, let me see. Okay, so it's saying the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline as well. So I think let me see, because I want to make sure I'm giving this information right. Okay, you can go to, it's another website, 988lifeline.org. Okay, so that one is 988lifeline.org. And then that number again, was, I'm sorry, let me go back to it. Make sure I have that right. Okay, so that number was, what was that number, Kiki? Because I need to make sure that was right. Yeah, let's just confirm that for me. So
like a suicide hotline?
Yeah, that 1-8. What was that number? That 1-800. But as you're looking at that, I mean, trying to confirm that and make sure we're giving the right information.
Right.
I really, I can't push or stress enough to those listening. If you or yourself or need help, it's okay. It is okay. We have to normalize this. We have to break these stigmas. We have to break it. Like, it's too much going on. It's like, it's to the point like we just can't ignore it.
Right.
It is to the point where we just cannot ignore it any longer. It's well overdue. It's well overdue.
Yes. I found it. It's you can also text or call 988 from your phone.
Okay, so that's why I did see a text. Okay, so you can text. Okay.
And it's 1-800. This is the Suicide Prevention Lifeline for help. They open 24 hours. So it's 1-800-273-8255. Was that the same number?
Yep, that was the number. Mm-hmm. Okay. So, we're definitely advocating strong about this. Don't be afraid. I know we're afraid of, being judged. Who would think this? Who would think that? I'm telling you, it's nothing like, pressure being released. It's nothing like it. It's nothing like it. When we hold all that stuff in, we build up, we get heavy, and it gets worse. It just gets worse. We do that to ourselves. And like I always say, there is always light at the end of that tunnel, and we go through these things, there's lessons in life to be learned. That's where we build and find out who we truly are. That's why it's important to dig deep and within. And sometimes, when we feel like all these doors are closing, I know it's hard, and you feel like you've just done everything. I know it's hard, but it's all about the word believe. You have to, whatever affirmations, I'm telling you, our minds are so powerful.
They are.
It is so powerful that the more you just put out there, you believe in those affirmations, I'm telling you, and no matter what's going on, you just believe and trust. And I know it's hard. We talk about this all the time. It is hard. Okay? It is hard trying to walk like Jesus Christ every day up in these streets, because you got that one thing or that one person that will try you. And I said,
and a lot of people try him too. Y'all keep that in mind.
But hey, and I'm gonna tell you this, for people, if our strong believers out there, and people, I have to back us up here, because I don't know where this came from, but it's a lot of people out there that feel like, if you try to walk like God and act like him and do whatever, it's like you're easily to just try to just just take advantage of. And that's not true.
Right.
That's not true. Because God, we look, church folks can check you too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's how you, again, it's how. Right. I don't have to be disrespectful, but I will not allow you to cross me.
Mm-hmm.
So don't get that twisted. That's just a little piece. And I'm not going to say anything else about that part. Just don't get it twisted. But again, let's start talking about this. Let's start having these conversations. Let's start now. Hopefully we'll be able, because actually September was suicide awareness month.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, September is National Suicide Awareness Month, and May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And I do want to next year put on do a walk for mental health. Get some folks involved. We got a lot of parks around. We're in here based in Atlanta. For those who don't know, we have a lot of parks. You have Stone Mountain Park. You have what is that? Kennesaw Mountain. You have
we can do it virtually if you're in another state.
Virtual,
and
yeah.
I don't think you got to do it on the months that is awareness. I think make it bigger those months, but it's something like every month. Maybe we should, if we can. Even if it's small. Because people go to come every day.
Right. That's true. So you can pick any Saturday. Yeah. It really doesn't matter. It's a lot of parks around here. Piedmont Park. But we just have to get comfortable in speaking about these things and, asking for help. This is not a game. This is serious. You never know, what people are going through. So please, please, please be mindful of how you treat other people.
Right.
That's somebody's child. Somebody's mom, dad, sister, brother, aunt, uncle. I can go on, and think about how you would want to be treated. Think about how you would want people to treat your family. It's too much going on out here. People killing just because you put on your blinker and got into the next lane and got in front of them because they didn't make it first. I don't understand. Please. And then again, you know, when we out here, you know, we think we get away with certain things. I don't believe in getting away. I don't care if sometimes it can happen immediately. It can happen 5 months, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, 20 years. It's going to catch up to you, because what's done in the dark is going to what?
Come to light.
Exactly. I'm a strong, firm believer in it. So, and just think about that. Okay. So, Kiki, we're gonna wrap things up here. Any last words of encouragement you want to share?
First and foremost, I want to say again, thank you for sharing your testimony, and I'm so proud of you that you shared it, because a lot of people need to hear that. And that's why you're still here, because God has a purpose for you. And this platform is your purpose. So I want to say, at the beginning, she gave you the social media outlet. So please share, because you never know who needs to hear it. Even if it's not for you, just share it because someone else needs it. And please get help. You know, we've said it over and over again, and there's no other way to say it. But get some help if you're going through that. And if you see somebody out of character and think they may be going through something, speak up and say something. You know, you don't have to be like a rah, you know, as far as like coming at them all hard, but just in a manner of, you know, are you okay? I've noticed lately that you haven't been yourself. Is it something you want to talk about? You know, that kind of thing. And yeah, just, I don't know, because it's such a touchy topic.
It is. It's very. It is.
Yeah. But just know you're not alone in whatever it is you're going through. But if you don't seek help, you're going to always feel like you're hopeless and alone. And just, it's out there for you. You just have to be willing to, like Alan said, to believe it's more for you. And even though the doors seem like they're closing, always know when one door closed, another one open, and something greater is on the other side of that door.
Yeah, you just got to keep walking down the hallway.
Right.
Don't stop. Just because that door open, door closed, don't turn around and go back. Keep walking. It's there.
Right.
And I'm telling you, the universe is going to put in place and give you all the tools that you need when you pray. I'm telling you, I never, ever experienced the type of life that I'm living all to this day. When I just let go, you know what I mean? I'm like, you know, bruh, you said, come to you.
Yeah.
Give us, Lord, our daily bread.
Bread.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, all right, G. Hey, I'm telling you, like, for real, like, we cool. Me and Big G, we cool like that. You know, that's daddy right there. Daddy, I need, I want, I don't care. I'm saying it all. Sometimes he'll say, here you go, sweetheart. And sometimes he'll be like, nope. Or he'll go, I'm giving it to you, but you need to wait.
Yep.
I got you. Right. So, you know, we just got to take a stand. So I encourage you all, you know, I second everything, you know, Kiki mentioned. Just speak up. If you see something, say something. If you are that one that's going through it, you speak up. You say something. It is help out there. You know, please don't leave that hurt on another loved one. We have too many loved ones that have gone through it, you know, unfortunately, that are missing their loved ones every single day, you know, and time heals, but I know, and I hate to say this, but this is me in reality. I know we're not gonna save everybody. I you know, some people just, it, you know, that's what it is. That's what it is. But and I had to, that was, you know, something that else that I had to get right with and accept, you know, trying to help. Oh, this is, it's just not gonna happen.
Right.
But however, we do have people out there that we can save. So it's not end all be all.
Right.
You know, we try to push for everyone, but we know how that goes. And I'll leave it at that. Let's do our jobs, and that's taking care of each other, listening to each other. Okay, let's stop trying to compete, because the only competition that you should have is yourself. Okay. But that's all I have. We love you all.
Yes.
We love you so much. And we're gonna wrap this up. And until next time, please be safe out there, and peace, love, and light. Bye-bye.